Hey guys, welcome to our second video in the second part of our Ancient Greece unit. So where we left off, we were really discussing the rise of the empire to the east of um, Greece, named as Persia. All right, so we said that Persia is an empire that is growing. Most of its size came from Persia's leader named Cyrus the Great. And we said Cyrus the Great was a really good leader. The people were happy under his rule. We said King Darius the First is the one that really organized the empire into satrapies with satraps as their leader. They had roads, such as the royal road that connected all parts. So as we were going on, we were saying that Persia is a really large empire, and they equip themselves with a professional army very similar to Sparta. Okay, so that's where we left off. Okay, some other things about Persia that are a little different than Greece. We said that Greeks were polytheistic. They believed in multiple gods. We will talk about mythology in the next unit with Athena and Zeus and all Ares and so forth. All right, in Persia, they were polytheistic, but then during this 500 BC range, they're going to start changing. Okay, so originally they were polytheistic, which means they believed in many gods, very similar to the Greeks. All the way up to a new guy in 600 BC. His name was Zoroaster. Zoroaster is going to be different than most areas, and he's going to start preaching, okay, that there's only one God in the world, okay? And if you're preaching that there is only one God, what that means is that you are considered monotheistic, the belief in one God. All right, now this God is going to be different than the Christian God and the Islamic God and the Jewish God. They're going to call their God the Ahura Mazda. Okay, he's going to be the number one God in this religion. So most Persians are actually going to adopt Zoroaster's beliefs, and they're going to start a religion known as Zoroastrianism. So if we look at Persia, they are not polytheistic like the rest of the world at this time. They're monotheistic. Zoroastrianism is actually still a religion today. Okay, and they have about 200,000 followers of this religion. So in this religion, okay, in Zoroastrianism, like we mentioned, they have one God, known as the Ahura Mazda. If we translate that to English, it means the wise Lord. Okay, now a word in religion that we tend to use is the word deity. Deity is simply a fancy word for God. So if you're a Christian, you believe in one deity, one God. If you're polytheistic, you believe in multiple deities, multiple gods. Okay, so as we're looking at this God is actually very similar to the gods of the Christians and the Jews and so on. So the Ahura Mazda is the creator of all things. So this is the God that created the earth and all the good that's in the world. Okay, they do believe that evil existed in the world. Okay, but unlike the Greeks, they do not believe that people are going to upset gods and gods are going to cast down wrath. They believe that there's evil in the world, but it's really a person's choice, whether they are a good person or an evil person. Very similar to the Christian ideas. Okay, that would say, if you're a good person, after you pass away, you would spend your time with God. And if you were a person that is brought on by evil, you might go down and spend time with the devil. Okay, very similar in the Persian religion. Okay, this is also one of the first areas to have an actual holy book. So if you think about the Christians' holy book known as the Bible, Zoroastrianism had a book of their own. Okay, so with Zoroastrianism, they are going to still hold like their monarchy, the kings, as the top people. So at this time, they believe that kings kind of had a divine power given to them by the gods. Okay, which is a little different than the Christian religion. Especially in our country, because we have the freedom of religion, we would never say that a leader of a country possesses these powers from God. Okay, we would say that they are an intellectual, they have good qualities, but not godly powers by any means. Okay, so kings believed that they were ruling by the power of the Ahura Mazda, and they were responsible to him. So Zoroastrianism continued throughout many centuries, and again, there's about 200,000 people who still believe in Zoroastrianism today. Okay, most of these people live in Southeast Asia. Now, as we look at Persia, okay, Persia is going to have this really large area of land. But the thing about Persia and most empires at this time, once they get so big, it's not going to be like they say, oh, we're big enough, let's stop here. Most people are going to now feel like that greed of more. Because remember, with more land becomes more power and more wealth. Okay, most people and most civilizations are going to be greedy. If we got this large, well, what's a little bit more land? How can that ever hurt us? Okay, so Persia is going to go into new areas. So they want to expand into Europe around the 400 BCs. Okay, so what they're going to do in Europe, if you think about where the Persian Empire was, one of the closest European countries to them was Greece. Okay, so they're going to confront the Greeks around the Mediterranean Sea, and a lot of their colonies they're going to confront. Okay, and if we look at this, we're going to notice that there are a lot of different societies and different governments. Okay, now Persia already controlled part of Greeks' colonies in Anatolia. Okay, now if we look at Anatolia, they're Greeks. Okay, they have Greek culture, Greek religion, Greek language. They're Greeks. They're not Persians. Okay, so as time goes on, what's going to happen is that those Anatolia Greeks are going to say, we don't want to be a part of Persia. We want to remain a part of Greece. We like that. That's our culture and so on. So they're going to revolt. Okay, when the Anatolia Greeks revolted against the Persian army, we have to think they're a colony. They're really tiny against this huge empire. Okay, and we're looking at Greece. Okay, a city-state named Athens, which we mentioned before, is going to say, oh my gosh, our fellow Greeks in Anatolia are in trouble. They're fighting this huge empire all by themselves. They're going to lose, right? Maybe we should try to help. Now, Athens did not have a large army. Remember, they have a citizen army, but what Athens did have, because they're a coastal city, they have a very large navy. So they're equipped with really good boats, and many of them. So Athens is going to send their warships across and go and help Anatolia. Okay, now if we look at this, Persia is still huge. All right, they're gonna defeat this revolt very quickly. The problem was King Darius was pretty upset. Okay, Darius wasn't out to get Athens, and he wasn't out to get all of Greece. He only wanted to maintain the Anatolia colonies. So Darius felt kind of upset that Athens actually kind of stepped in. He felt that they're stepping into a battle that really wasn't theirs. Why are they getting involved? So Darius was kind of angry about the involvement of Athens. So what he's going to do, he's going to get upset and he's going to want some revenge here. So he's going to set out to punish Greece, okay, because they stepped in where they probably shouldn't have. All right, so King Darius is going to get this goal that he's going to go in, he's going to destroy Athens for becoming involved. So Darius is going to send 600 ships across, and they're going to invade Greece. And what they're going to do is land at a place called Marathon. Marathon is about 25 miles away from Athens. So Darius decides that if he lands at Marathon and takes that, he will easily get his troops onto the land and then take over Athens and then move on and take over all of Greece. Okay, King Darius realizes that Greece is not unified. Remember, everyone's pretty separate. He knows they have citizen armies. They're not super strong. His most difficult challenge would really be Sparta. Okay, so he's going to land at Marathon. Okay, so he sends these 600 ships over, and when he lands at Marathon, he's going to wait okay, for the Athenian army to come and fight. Okay, so they're sitting at Marathon, they're all there, okay, and they're 25 miles away. That's a really close proximity to a nation. That's a threat. Okay, so as they wait for Athens to come, what they realized, Athens wasn't coming. And the reason that Athens didn't come was because they knew they were outnumbered. Athens has a tiny citizen army, and Persia does not. So Athens had about 10,000 soldiers. Persia had 20,000. Okay, sheer number, okay, Athens would lose. So Athens, you know, they have their messengers that go out and kind of scope out what's going on. Those messengers are going to say, if we go down there right now, we're going to lose. So Athens never came. All right, so if we're Darius the First and the commanders in the Persian army, well, if the battle's never going to start, they're going to have to go to a plan B. Okay, so they decide that they're going to go right into Athens. They're going to sail to the coastline of Athens and attack at the beaches. Okay, so in order to do this, they start loading their strongest part of their military, which is the cavalry. Okay, cavalry means these are the men, the soldiers on horseback. They can move fast, they can attack fast. So Persia is going to start regrouping. Plan B is in the works. They're going to start loading up these ships, okay, with their cavalry. Okay, Athens is watching. Okay, they're watching this occur because they want to see what happens. So after Persia gets all of their cavalry on their ships, okay, the strongest part of their military, Athens is going to charge down to Marathon and attack because those cavalry were all bottled up and they were no longer a threat. Okay, because of this, all right, they're going to catch the Persians off guard without any help. They're kind of stuck on their boats. Okay, so what ends up happening, okay, Marathon is going to be this terrible defeat for the Persians. So Darius the First is already upset at Athens. This is only going to fuel his anger. He's not going to stop. Now he's mad. Okay, so if we look at this, the Athenian army is going to win against the Persian army. This news is going to travel quickly throughout Greece. It's going to be surprising that Athens won, being that they're so tiny. Okay, so if we look at this, today's marathons, if we think of the word marathon, we have marathons in the United States that people run and so on. The reason they're called marathon is because of these runs that the messengers did. Remember, they're 25 miles away from Athens. Okay, those messengers ran back and told of the Athenian defeat. Okay, so today's marathons are named in that honor, and they're just over 26 miles long, the same distance that those messengers traveled. So after their defeat, Persia is going to vow revenge. They're upset. They're embarrassed. Okay, they're going to crush Greece. This is their goal. Okay, so they're not going to stop. So after Darius steps down, okay, a new king is going to come up, and his name is King Xerxes. So he's going to invade with 200,000 troops, warships, supply vessels, everything he has. Okay, the Greek city-states at this time are going to realize if we don't do something together, we're going to lose. Okay, citizen armies are not going to work against Persia. Okay, the only chance that we have is to put aside our differences and join together and be Greek. Let's join our citizen armies. Let's conquer Persia. Okay, because if we do it separately, we're all going to lose. Okay, so we're going to look at these city-states, Athens and Sparta. Athens has a huge navy. That's what they're going to put in to help. And Sparta has a good army. Okay, so King Leonidas of Sparta is going to supply most of the soldiers to fight, and Athens is going to propose most of the naval ships. Okay, the king in Athens was King Themistocles. Okay, and that's going to have that huge navy. Okay, and we're going to stop here and we'll figure out what happens in the next EdPuzzle video.